A little bit of an update. This is of no interest really to anybody, but here we go. On September 22nd, 2022, Murder Sheet Podcast came up with some story. An anonymous or confidential source said that KK waited in a parked red Jeep. The source didn't say where this was, why it was going on. No police or witnesses mentioned a red car that anybody could find, much less a Jeep. People found vehicles similar to this, either the wrong color, but it's a Jeep, or it's not really a specific Jeep, but it was red, on accounts associated with the individual mentioned somewhat. Now we get to Murder Sheet Podcast again. But after this, people are then speculating, and I mentioned that it might have been parked at the abandoned CPS building, which is nearby. But again, the only claim was that a vehicle was near that abandoned building, but doesn't match this at all. And then someone brought up the Marathon gas station. I didn't know what that was about. Person today posted that this may have been based on yet another Murder Sheet podcast, which means this is about the Murder Sheet podcast fandom coming up with theories because they're being fed these stories. Well, we have confidential sources. And I get asked, well, okay, how are they vetting this? I don't know. They're doing this as a very well-structured, somewhat edited, seemingly scripted, dramatic reading almost. But anyway, where did this Marathon gas station come up? Person said, KK had mentioned in one of his text messages to another person, meet me at Marathon, and then tried to look up where that probably came from and found out, no, actually it was Murder Sheet Podcast, the FBI and Lost Tapes. At 32 minutes into it, KK searched the location of the Marathon in Delphi on the day of the murders. And then it turns out that you should actually go to, I'm using the Spotify link here because it's shorter and will actually load simpler. A source said he searched for a local gas station. They said it was the Marathon or just a local gas station. Okay. Isn't this person from the area, and why would they be searching for this gas station? That may be the implied reason for this seeming suspicious or important or something. But that's not what they're talking about. They're saying that the FBI should have had a CCTV record from that day because they were, quote, on the scene immediately that day and should have grabbed every business's CCTV recording, but they didn't. This is the claim by the Murder Sheet podcast, because they say they have a source in the police department that said that no recording was made. Wait a minute, didn't you just say it was the FBI that would have made that recording of information, whether they had it or not? Wouldn't they be the ones to consult? If it's the Marathon gas station that's 1.6 miles away at 900 South Washington Street, Delphi, Indiana, or wherever, I mean, there may be more than one, they're a little far away for that to be a point that would be of any interest. Again, these individuals were people from the area. The typical reason a place like a gas station gets searched up on your cell phone, and again, are you talking about looking at his cell phone contents to find out that he did that? What's your source? And how do you know the Marathon recording wasn't made? But anyway, the most common reason people look up a gas station in an area that they're familiar with is either A, it's moved recently, B, it's changed its hours, or C, something in the area has caused a disruption in the hours the business would be open. Maybe it's on a weekend. Maybe the person had just simply never gone there. That doesn't necessarily mean they met anywhere, and it went from a text message saying meet at the Marathon to being really, and the person probably acknowledges at this point that that was obviously not true, or I don't know, maybe it is, but the Murder Sheet podcast is claiming that he had looked for it, but they're not offering even an explanation like that. Okay, he searched up a gas station nearby, or was searching for any gas station nearby that was open at a specific hour. What time? What date stamp? What is the source? Is it from his phone? Is this from a transcript that the FBI produced? Is it an inside source we cannot confirm? Same thing again with the FBI. The FBI, if they went there, would have absolutely done every business in the area. Okay, prove that they did every business in the area. That would be Herculean task in and of itself, but okay. Every business with every single form of a security camera. They would have grabbed all the recordings to see who was in the area. Get a snapshot of daily life there. The duration that CCTV cameras record at locations is variable. Most of you who have Ring cameras and such might tell it not to keep anything unless there's an incident for any period of time. If you have a business you're using a security camera for, they're normally erased either weekly or they're recorded and erased that day. They don't have to be a week old. What time of the week did this happen at? I'm not talking about the murder. The claim is that this was on the day of the murder. Okay, what was the hour, minute, second? Because if the Murder Sheet podcast is claiming that they can confirm that KK searched on, I'm presuming on a cell phone, that they have data records. And those data records have hour, minute, and second marks, including a GMT reference in most cases, by saying plus or minus some number. All right, give us the raw data. This is now, I'm going to guess the second, maybe third time, I haven't checked every single thing I've done on my channels, where definitively the Murder Sheet podcast has produced a statement and not corroborated. This is an uncorroborated statement. So at this point, they have to do an answer, nothing else. I'm not going to go sit through half-hour shit, where they explain where they got the information that this person with the initials KK searched up any gas station, much less a specific one, and why 1.6 miles away, and, or more, I don't even know, it could be a different location, and also what was the context of it. And if they have that, what other information was searched for or perused beforehand? How was the Murder Sheet podcast getting a hold of random people's search history? Next, apparently it wasn't a text message or direct communication. Somebody was simply looking up a gas station location, probably to figure out if it was open, or the nearest one, or checking rates. Maybe he was using an app to see which place had the best rates for fuel. That's pretty commonly done in Portland anyway. But anyway, this is a person from the area who's looking up something in the area. Maybe it had moved recently. I don't know. And why aren't they explaining this fully? They just say it offhandedly like it's an established fact. Everybody knows that. Okay, where is this coming from? Now, I'm sure that this has actually got a basis and they're just being lazy. But the podcast websites I looked up do not provide any citations. YouTube is rather odd and unfortunately necessary now, because even though YouTube does not want us to put citations in the description and use it for something, academic and useful, we do. Which seems to piss them off more than anything. I mean, I'm getting flagged for damaging Stephen Paddock's reputation and bullying a dead man because I put a citation linking to his death certificate. This kind of thing here is exactly what YouTube is good for. So I'm sure the Murder Sheet podcast could put up a video where they said, list of our sources, and put a blog post up somewhere. Where did you get this information? They could put in real easy, Marathon gas station, if that's the claim. That seems to be the actual claim. You can listen to it below. That particular gas station done by KK. Okay. All right. Where did you get it from? What is your context? You don't have to give us any data that might damage the case. You're already giving out enough information to disrupt any ability of anybody to judge anything or to be a juror. So I'm not really sure how this is damaging anything. Next thing is you're using secret data sources. You can't do that unless you're going to provide compelling, corroborating data. So let's review. The claim that there was a red Jeep waiting in a parking lot with KK in it is based on no data source because it's not provided. You didn't explain yourselves. Next, the claim that somehow they know that KK searched for either any gas station or that gas station, again, is not being corroborated. The claim that they have an inside source doesn't wash. What is the compelling data? The next thing is a source within the police department said that if the FBI was there, they would have done, should have, could have done. All right, except maybe they didn't, because maybe they didn't think of that, because maybe they were just involved trying to find out, reverse from where you find the victims and work backwards and try to follow a trail backwards. That's one of many methods. This is in the middle of a forested area. This is more than 12 hours after the fact, after the occurrence. Most of the evidence is going to be destroyed. Okay, we'll search every camera in the area. Does that mean your house's camera has to be searched? Did that actually happen? Did they canvass the neighborhood? Did they do it immediately? The FBI somehow now has the resources. FBI for Indiana. Every state has their own FBI office, or regional ones, or just in the county. The FBI agents are supposed to swarm over every single business in Delphi, all the way to 6 miles or just 1.6 miles away, and look at every place that has any kind of camera to see who was in the area. I agree. Are they capable of doing it? How many FBI agents were on the ground? Next, the FBI was called in, and it was made statements of in this podcast. Because this is exclusively a state police or a local police case, they were asked in, and they came in. That doesn't mean they make a major police, or FBI presence, because that rubs local police the wrong way. Until we get to the point that police departments don't have egos, that is a reality. So let's review. The FBI that isn't required to show up for a local murder of 2 people at all, they're not required to, suddenly swarmed the entire area and grabbed every piece of video recording. And somehow or another, the Murder Sheet podcast knows for a fact that's how it always works. And they have insider information on literally a color of a car, that it's a Jeep, and that KK was parked in it doing not a damn thing someplace. And it could have been 1.6 miles away or at the CPS building. Well, the CPS building is out because people did witness something there, and it wasn't that red Jeep. Next, there isn't even a confirmation that they had access to or control over or possession of or involvement with a red Jeep at the time. Years later, yes, not at the time. Or any red car. And no witnesses or police brought up a red vehicle at that time, because that would have stuck out like a sore thumb. The FBI and the lost tape. Okay, this is reality. I'm just gonna barge in here and do a table flip. Nobody doing podcasts about the Delphi murders has any content, and they're making shit up. I'm convinced of it. I don't have any content. I can only tell you the same thing I told you the day I did the only video anybody cares about, where I pointed out that until the police release all of the data, we have nothing. There's a claim of secret releases of data without corroboration, meaning those aren't being released, and that is a fucking lie. It is a lie until you provide the content, until it's either confirmed or strenuously denied by the FBI. There's claims of insider information within the police department and apparently the FBI, because only the FBI would know whether or not they had a recording from the location. So your secret source, secret sauce. And the other thing is, it's simply an assertion based on assuming the FBI would swarm it CSI style. None of this has any basis. All right, here we go. I don't think the Murder Sheet podcast is going to pay attention. They have a group of people that like listening to them essentially do back and forth storytelling. Very well scripted. I like it. It's really good. I would love them to do a War of the Worlds remake. But beyond that, we are now stuck. Confirmed, real, solid evidence released. Well, they're hinting at, I don't want to hear that. Just shut it. If you're watching Murder Sheet podcast or any of their fanboys, they have to explicitly explain in a way that they cannot take back later how they know KK searched for any gas station. How they know KK said he was in a red Jeep. What is the source data? Well, we can't reveal that. Yes, you fucking can. It would have to be from interviews with him or data grabbed from his phone. Which is it? And shoulda, coulda, woulda, how the FBI shoulda, coulda, woulda done things isn't really how things work. Look at every case the FBI's been involved in. There's no consistency. They're just humans. And the FBI, no, it's local FBI office. If you deal with Portland, Oregon, it's literally the Multnomah County or Portland FBI field office, which has 20 people in it. How many do they have in Delphi? Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Please make them answer these questions. Not even to me, just to you.